What if I told you that the fastest growing privacy solution on Earth isn't sold by fencing companies or bamboo nurseries? Instead, it's been quietly growing for generations along old property lines and forgotten hedgerows, where farmers once planted living barriers they rarely talked about. These plants created natural fences without posts, permits, or property disputes. They protected land, provided privacy, and did it all by simply growing. Meanwhile, the modern fencing industry sells panels that rot in 15 years, and the bamboo many people were promised as a perfect privacy plant has become one of the most legally disputed plants in America. But long before any of that, your great-grandfather likely protected his homestead with living fences that cost almost nothing, just patience and a few cuttings. Some of those hedges are still standing today. He understood something the landscaping industry would rather you forget. Stay with me, because the second plant on this list was so valuable that when supplies disappeared, it pushed people to invent an entirely new solution: barbed wire. Today, we're looking at 13 living green fences that grow faster than bamboo. Welcome to the channel where we rediscover practical solutions that time and sometimes industry tried to bury. If you believe nature often solved our problems long before corporations started selling them back to us, you're definitely in the right place. Let's begin. Here are 13 green fences that grow faster than bamboo, ranked from impressive to absolutely incredible. Number 13. Hybrid Willow, the Speed Demon. You might have seen this tree sold under the name Ostry, a trademarked hybrid created by crossing hangcow willow with white willow. Researchers developed this hybrid with one main goal: extreme growth speed. Here's why hybrid willow makes an outstanding living fence. Growth rate. University trials have recorded growth of 6 to 10 feet in a single year under good conditions. That means a simple cutting planted in spring can be taller than your house by early fall. Containment. Unlike bamboo, whose underground runners spread aggressively, hybrid willow has a fibrous root system that stays contained. Resilience. It tolerates wet soil that would kill most privacy plants, yet once established, it can also survive periods of drought. Plant them about 5 feet apart, and within 2 growing seasons, they weave together into a dense, natural privacy screen. But one of the best features is how easy they are to multiply. In late winter, simply cut a few branches and stick them in the ground. They root incredibly easily, giving you an unlimited supply of free plants to expand your living fence. If you want privacy quickly without dealing with bamboo's headaches, hybrid willow is the speed demon that delivers. But fast as it is, the next plant on our list actually holds the world record for the fastest growing tree on Earth. Number 12. Empress Tree, the world record holder. Scientists know it as Paulownia tomentosa, and in China it has been cultivated for over 2,600 years. Emperors valued its lightweight wood for furniture and musical instruments. Here's what makes the Empress tree remarkable for privacy screens. Under ideal conditions, this tree can grow 10 to 15 feet in a single year. Yes, 15 feet in one growing season. Few trees on Earth can match that documented growth rate. Its huge heart-shaped leaves create dense shade and visual coverage just months after planting. In spring, the tree produces dramatic clusters of purple flowers even before the leaves appear. Another advantage is its ability to coppice. If you cut the tree back to the ground, it often grows back even faster the following season. Plant them 8 to 10 feet apart and you can create a privacy screen faster than almost anything else available. One important note:
Some states classify the empress tree as potentially invasive, so it's always wise to check local regulations before planting.
For anyone looking for the fastest-growing privacy screen science has documented, the empress tree truly earns its royal title. Number 11. Leyland cypress, the American classic. Interestingly, this tree didn't even exist until 1888, when a natural hybrid appeared at Leighton Hall in Wales. A Monterey cypress and Nootka cypress cross-pollinated, creating a tree that would eventually become the most widely planted privacy screen in America. Here's why homeowners continue to rely on Leyland cypress.
Consistent growth.
It grows about 3 to 4 feet per year, providing fast results without the unpredictable growth spurts of some species.
Year-round privacy.
Its soft, feathery evergreen foliage stays green through winter when many other plants lose their leaves.
Durability.
It even tolerates salt spray, making it an excellent option for coastal properties. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart, and within 3 years you'll have a thick visual barrier. There are no invasive runners, no spreading problems, and minimal maintenance. A single yearly pruning in late summer keeps the hedge dense and at your preferred height. Millions of homeowners have chosen Leyland cypress for a simple reason. It works.
For reliable year-round privacy from one of the most trusted screening plants in the country, Leyland cypress remains the American classic.
Number 10. Thuja green giant, the survivor. In 1967, the United States National Arboretum introduced a remarkable hybrid by crossing western red cedar with Japanese arborvitae. Within just a few decades, it became one of the most widely recommended privacy trees in North America. Here's what makes Thuja green giant such a standout for living fences.
Adaptability.
This tree handles a huge range of climates, thriving in cold regions down to Zone 5 and tolerating heat all the way up to Zone 9. That means it performs well across most of the continental United States. Pest resistance. Deer tend to leave it alone while happily munching on other evergreens. Even better, serious pest and disease problems are extremely rare. Strong structure. It grows an impressive 3 to 5 feet per year, naturally forming a neat pyramidal shape that requires very little pruning. Plant them 5 to 6 feet apart, and before long you'll have a thick evergreen screen. The foliage even releases a pleasant scent when brushed against. And unlike bamboo, Thuja green giant stays exactly where you plant it. No invasive roots, no neighbor disputes, and no foundation problems. For anyone looking for a tough, evergreen privacy screen that keeps thriving even in difficult conditions, Thuja green giant is the survivor that keeps growing when others fail.
Number 9. Privet, the ancient boundary.
More than 2,000 years ago, the Romans planted privet hedges across their empire to mark property lines and protect estates. That tradition never disappeared. Today, privet hedges still define gardens and landscapes across Europe.
Here's why privet has remained a favorite for centuries.
Versatility. Few plants respond to pruning as well as privet. Cut it back hard and it grows even thicker. Ignore it for a while and it still performs. Variety. Some types are semi-evergreen, keeping most of their leaves through winter, while others are deciduous, offering slightly faster growth. Wildlife benefits. In summer, clusters of fragrant white flowers appear, attracting bees, butterflies, and other pollinators.
Plant them 12 to 18 inches apart, and with regular trimming you can form a dense, formal hedge that feels almost like a living wall. Privet grows about 2 to 3 feet per year, and instead of fighting your pruning, it actually thrives on it.
For anyone who wants a classic hedge that has stood the test of 2 millennia, privet remains the ancient boundary that still works beautifully today.
Number 8. Lombardy poplar, the green column.
If you've ever driven through northern Italy, you've likely seen rows of tall, narrow trees lining roads and marking fields. Those striking trees are Lombardy poplars. They arrived in America in the 1700s and quickly became a defining feature of rural windbreaks and farm boundaries.
Here's what makes them unique for privacy screens.
Distinct shape. Unlike most trees that spread wide, Lombardy poplars grow in a tight columnar form. Mature trees can reach 40 to 60 feet tall, while staying only 10 to 15 feet wide.
Rapid vertical growth.
They shoot upward quickly, often growing 6 to 8 feet per year when young. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart, and you'll create a dramatic wall of tall green columns that block views from a distance or higher vantage points. One thing to keep in mind is that Lombardy poplars typically live 15 to 20 years, shorter than many trees. Smart gardeners often plant new ones in stages so the screen stays intact over time. For anyone needing a fast, tall barrier, especially against elevated views, Lombardy poplar is the green column that rises higher, faster. Number 7. Eucalyptus, the aromatic barrier. Australia is home to more than 700 species of eucalyptus, and plant breeders have developed varieties that can now tolerate surprisingly cold climates. That makes this famously aromatic tree a powerful option for living fences. Here's why eucalyptus stands out. Natural pest repellent. The essential oils that give eucalyptus its distinctive scent also help repel mosquitoes, flies, and other biting insects. Your privacy screen can double as a natural pest barrier. Fast growth. Many species grow 6 to 8 feet per year, with some varieties even faster under ideal conditions. The foliage's silvery blue-green color adds beauty and contrast to the landscape year-round. You can coppice eucalyptus, cutting it back regularly to maintain hedge height, or allow it to grow into tall screening trees. The fragrant leaves can even be harvested and dried for household use. Plant them 8 to 10 feet apart, and you'll create a privacy screen that not only looks striking, but also fills the air with a refreshing scent. Eucalyptus is the rare fence that protects your space while making your entire yard smell incredible. Number 6. Mulberry, the edible screen. For more than 4,000 years, Chinese silk farmers grew mulberry trees to feed their silkworms. But these trees offer far more than just food for silk production. They can also create a productive, living privacy fence. Here's why mulberry deserves a place in your landscape. Dense structure. Mulberry trees develop a thick network of branches that forms a strong visual screen. Even in winter, when the leaves fall, the branching structure still helps block views. Delicious harvest. By early summer, those same branches produce pounds of sweet, juicy berries. The flavor is often described as a mix between blackberries and grapes. Natural decoy. Birds adore mulberries. In fact, they love them so much that they often ignore other crops nearby. Many gardeners intentionally plant mulberry as a decoy tree to help protect blueberries, strawberries, and other fruits. Mulberry trees grow 3 to 6 feet per year with very little care. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart, and you'll have a fruit-producing hedge that earns its place in more ways than one. They tolerate heat, drought, poor soil, and even a little neglect while continuing to produce year after year. For anyone who wants a privacy fence that also fills the kitchen with fresh fruit, mulberry is the edible screen that keeps giving.
Number 5. Black locust, the soil builder.
When early American settlers began building farms and fences, they quickly discovered something remarkable about black locust. Its wood resisted rot so well that fence posts made from it could last 50 years or more, even underground. But the real value of black locust goes far beyond its durable wood. Here's what makes it special as a living fence. Natural fertilizer. Black locust belongs to the same family as beans and peas, meaning it can fix nitrogen from the air into the soil. In other words, this tree actually improves the fertility of the ground around it. Built-in security. Its branches are lined with sharp thorns, creating a natural barrier that discourages both animal and human intruders. Under good conditions, black locust can grow 4 to 6 feet per year. Plant them 6 to 8 feet apart, and you'll create a privacy fence that doesn't just occupy space, it actively builds healthier soil. For anyone who wants a living barrier that strengthens their land while protecting it, black locust is the soil builder that earns its keep. Number 4. Hawthorn, the 1,000-year fence. Take a walk through the countryside of Britain, and you'll find something remarkable. Hawthorn hedges that were planted before William the Conqueror invaded England in 1066. Nearly 1,000 years later, many of those hedges are still standing. That kind of longevity is almost unheard of in modern fencing. Here's why hawthorn has endured for centuries. Unmatched protection. Its dense, thorny branches create a barrier that livestock and most people cannot easily push through. Traditional farmers even used a technique called hedge laying, where stems were partially cut and woven sideways to form a thick, impenetrable living wall. Incredible lifespan! Hawthorn grows at a steady 2 to 3 feet per year, but once established, it can survive for centuries with very little care. Wildlife benefits. In spring, the hedge bursts into clouds of white blossoms that attract pollinators. By autumn, it produces bright red berries that feed birds through the winter. Plant hawthorn 12 to 18 inches apart, and over time you'll create a hedge strong enough to outlast generations. For anyone looking for a living fence that could still be standing hundreds of years from now, hawthorn is the 1,000-year solution that history has already proven. Number 3. Rose of Sharon, the flowering wall. What if your privacy fence didn't just block views, but also became one of the most beautiful parts of your garden? That's exactly what Rose of Sharon does. This plant is so beloved that South Korea named it their national flower, and it has appeared in Asian art and gardens for centuries. But beyond its beauty, it also works surprisingly well as a living privacy screen. Here's why Rose of Sharon stands out. Non-stop blooms. Large, hibiscus-like flowers appear from midsummer all the way into fall, long after most other plants have finished blooming. Depending on the variety, the flowers can be white, pink, purple, or even blue. A magnet for pollinators. Butterflies and hummingbirds are drawn to the abundant blooms, turning your hedge into a lively pollinator haven. Year-round structure.
Even when winter arrives and the leaves fall, the dense network of branches still creates a natural screen that blocks much of the view.
Rose of Sharon typically grows 2 to 3 feet per year, forming a thick, flowering hedge within just a few seasons.
It's also incredibly tough, handling heat, drought, and poor soil that might stress other flowering shrubs. And it often self-seeds, naturally filling in any gaps that appear in your hedge.
Plant them 4 to 6 feet apart, and you'll have a privacy screen that not only protects your space, but also fills your yard with color when the rest of the garden fades.
For anyone who wants a living fence that's beautiful enough for the front yard, Rose of Sharon becomes a flowering wall that truly stands out. Number 2. Osage Orange, the fence that invented barbed wire.
Rose of Sharon brings beauty to a boundary, but now we reach the plant I mentioned earlier, the living fence, so effective it actually changed American history. Before European settlement, Osage Orange grew naturally only in a small region spanning parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. Native American tribes, especially the Osage, prized its wood for crafting exceptionally strong hunting bows. But settlers soon discovered something even more remarkable.
When planted closely together, Osage Orange formed a hedge that farmers described as horse-high, bull-strong, and pig-tight.
Its branches are packed with long, vicious thorns, creating a barrier so dense that livestock simply couldn't push through it.
By the 1850s and 1860s, frontier farmers across the American Midwest were desperate for these living fences. Demand exploded, but Osage Orange hedges took time to grow, and there simply weren't enough plants to meet the need. That shortage sparked an invention that changed farming forever.
In 1874, Joseph Glidden patented barbed wire, a metal alternative created because Osage Orange hedges couldn't be grown fast enough to fence the rapidly expanding frontier.
In other words, barbed wire exists because this tree worked too well.
And Osage Orange still has impressive qualities today. Its wood is the most rot-resistant native wood in North America, lasting more than 100 years as fence posts.
It grows 3 to 4 feet per year. Its dense, thorny growth is still used for security plantings, even around some prison perimeters.
For anyone who wants a living fence with a story behind it, Osage Orange isn't just a plant. It's a piece of American history growing in your backyard.
Number 1. Hybrid poplar, the complete package. Osage Orange may have changed history, but our number 1 plant wins for a simple reason. It combines speed, reliability, and practicality better than almost anything else. Meet hybrid poplar. Plant breeders created these trees by crossing several poplar species, aiming to produce the most dependable, fast-growing privacy screen possible.
And the results are impressive. Incredible growth speed.
Hybrid poplars grow 5 to 8 feet per year, making them one of the fastest privacy screens you can plant. Within 2 to 3 years, they can provide full visual coverage.
Safe root system.
Unlike many aggressive plants, hybrid poplar roots stay fibrous and contained, meaning fewer worries about foundations, sidewalks, or neighbor disputes.
Extreme toughness.
These trees handle wet soils, dry soils, and poor ground conditions surprisingly well, places where many other fast-growing trees struggle. Practical and affordable. Bare root hybrid poplars are inexpensive and easy to ship, making them simple to plant in early spring. Once established, their dense summer foliage blocks nearly all views.
No invasive runners.
No bamboo regrets.
No legal disputes with neighbors.
Just fast, reliable privacy that stays exactly where you plant it. For anyone who wants the benefits of a fast-growing screen without the common downsides, hybrid poplar truly earns its place as the complete package. Conclusion. These 13 plants represent generations of practical knowledge, living fences that people relied on long before bamboo became a trendy landscaping solution.
Your grandparents didn't plant bamboo that spreads across property lines.
They planted hedges that stayed put, and many of those hedges are still standing today.
Frontier farmers built entire homesteads behind living fences that required no hardware store trips at all.
Meanwhile, in the British countryside, people are still harvesting berries and flowers from hawthorn hedges planted before America was even colonized.
You don't need bamboo creeping into your neighbor's yard or cracking your foundation.
You never did.
Choose 1 or 2 plants from this list that match your climate and your goals. Order some bare root plants this winter and get them in the ground in early spring.
By next fall, you could already have a natural privacy screen, one that grows stronger every year and stays exactly where you planted it.
These plants have been creating boundaries for centuries.
Now they're ready to create yours.
And if you enjoyed discovering what nature can do better than modern products, hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments which plant you'd try first.